I mean,
Let us jump to gaming
is there
news. I
any
think
is
there's
there any bigger
only
news
one
than
thing. I mean, it's so
you,
exciting. I put it there
you put it in
twice.
in our news doc twice? I had to do a double take. Like, did you put 2 stories about Elden Ring DLC? I was like, nope, it's just the
Elden
same link
Ring,
twice.
From Software just decided to fucking tweet this out on a random Monday morning. They're just like, hey, yeah, we're working on DLC. It's coming sometime in the future. We can't really say when. Cool,
Listen,
bye.
these people are geniuses though, because they could have just tweeted that. Okay, hear me out. They could have been like, hey, listen, we're working on DLC. Sleep tight. Good night. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're like, we're working on DLC. Also, here's a tasty teaser image.
Oh my god! And
And
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure there are 3-hour videos on YouTube
yeah,
right now breaking down
you
the single
best
image. Like,
believe that people out here are out here breaking down this single video of, which is probably a good person, Mikola, just having a good old stroll through
yep,
this field
that
here.
definitely looks like Mikola.
Mm.
I've already seen that. But From Software hasn't said this as much, but that this is likely in a completely different map because there's nothing on the current map that matches this picture. So there's already an indication that we'll have a new section of the map maybe added, which is, to be fair, pretty normal for a From Software expansion. If you go back to Dark Souls 3 was a completely new area, Bloodborne was a completely new area, sort of. It was like a nightmarish version of familiar areas and then a whole new area. Sekiro sadly never got DLC. RIP.
Yeah. Rip F in
But
chat.
yeah, this would track with how the DLC works in the From universe.
You say that, okay, but I'm gonna cut it. I don't know where your face is. There it is.
Oh,
Damn it! Why is it doing that?
are you
Okay.
looking at that little island?
I'm looking at the little. This is where people like, hey man, this is
Mm,
where. Why did your face keep disappearing?
I mean, it's called Shadow of the Erdtree. What is right
Oh
above
yeah,
that
exactly.
island?
What is this little random
The
cloud
fucking
here?
Erdtree.
This is where that photo was taken. Oh, I don't know. This little cloud is where things are going to take place.
It would make sense because,
Surely.
like I said in the past, the maps have been new, but they have integrated with the overall map.
Yeah.
Like there are ways to get there. So yeah, that's cool. I read I can't remember if it was a report or someone just linking two things together, but there is a strong possibility that Armored Core 6 is out at the end of this year. Don't know how From Software is doing that so fast. And the implication is that the trailer for this DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, will come after that.
This trailer will be a fourth ending in Armored Core.
Can I posit a prediction here?
Yes.
The Game Awards 2023.
The trailer.
Shadow of the Erdtree trailer.
The
release
trailer,
date,
yeah, and release date.
Early 2024.
February. 2 years after Elden Ring launched.
That's a phenomenal guess. Yeah. 2 years after release, boom, big story DLC.
Bam.
And these are always big DLCs. So, yeah.
I have a question. Will this be
Stoked.
the only DLC for Elden Ring?
That is an interesting question because Bloodborne got 1, Dark Souls 3 got 2.
Yeah, I think Dark Souls 3 and 2 and even... No, 1 got
2
1.
got also 2.
Yeah, 1 got 1 DLC. 2 got 2 or 3 DLCs. So.
I suspect 1, purely because I think this is going to be much larger than any of those.
I also think so.
Especially since it's connected to an open world that's way more complex.
Yeah.
So I think 1. I also think by then we're 2 years removed from Elden Ring. I think this thing drops and you start already hearing about what From is doing next.
Bloodborne
because they
2.
are I mean, how long did it take between the launch of Elden Ring and them being like, oh yeah, we're working on Armored Core 6? It was like 6 months.
It was like a day.
And they had already announced the new thing. So I don't think they're going to be working on more DLC post for 3 years after Elden Ring. They'll be on whatever the hell is next. I do think this means that a Bloodborne 2 is not happening soon.
No, but I do think that the next game will be a Bloodborne 2.
I agree. I tend to agree.
But yeah, so that's exciting news. I'm very
very exciting.
Very keen to visit the Lands Between again. Like I haven't spent 300 to 400 hours there already.
So fucking ready.
What other news? should we touch
Should
on?
we just get the Microsoft stuff out of the way? This is your Microsoft Activision check-in for the week. It looks like things are swinging Microsoft's way, as analysts always expected it would. But according to Reuters, the EU is likely to approve the deal over some of the concessions the tech giant has already made, like the deal with Nintendo and Nvidia. I suspect that it will want a few more concessions, but it seems that the EU Commission is happy with those types of concessions, as opposed to the UK regulator, who basically wanted Microsoft to sell off Call of Duty as a concession. The thing is, if the EU waves the deal through, this puts a lot of pressure on the UK regulators and the FTC to do the same. As soon as one of these three dominoes falls, the others usually fall fairly quickly after that. I mean, most articles that I've read concerning the FTC who are actually suing Microsoft over this deal all seem to agree that if the UK and EU approve this, the FTC literally has no argument in court, and will likely just drop the suit. They just want to sue to kind of show that they are being, strong about taking this seriously up front.
Yeah.
But because the court case is taking place only in August or September, the likelihood of this thing closing by then is quite high. And I think Microsoft, if they get UK and EU, will just immediately close the deal because they will not care about what the FTC has to say.
Nice.
The ruling by the EU has been pushed back slightly, so it's only coming out April 25th. There was an extension to this deal's hard closure date, which was previously June. It's now a bit further back. I definitely think it's going to be closed
about then.
Fairly soonish. Yeah, I don't think in the next few weeks, but unless something drastic happens where the UK is literally we will not close this until you sell off Call of Duty, then I think this, once the EU approves it, this is pretty much done.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time then. So I will be very glad when this whole debacle is over and we never have to speak about it ever
and then
again.
we can put this segment to bed.
Yeah, because I really hate checking in on this time. I find it fascinating, but I just want it to be done. It's all we've ever spoken about every week for the past year.
400 days
I'm
now.
just so fucking done with this. Just everyone seems to agree it's going to close. Yes, it deserves scrutiny. These sorts of things always deserve scrutiny. I'm just so tired of it right now. Just if it's going to close, just fucking close it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Next thing. Yeah, what do you want to jump to?
Meta plans Quest 3 release for this year.
Yeah.
I'm just going down the list here.
Oh, okay. I put it in no particular order, but Meta's had a weird week. They announced it's weird. Remember when they increased the price of the Quest 2 by $100? Then just yesterday they announced a price reduction of $30, being look at us, we did a price cut, hey! Nice. And it's just guys, it's still $70 more expensive than it was less than a year ago. The funny thing is, their newest headset, the Meta Quest Pro, which came out at $1,500, crazy. They've cut that price to $999. That thing ain't selling. One's buying that.
That's a big ass price cut, though. Holy hell!
It's still $1,000 is a lot of fucking money. I don't think.
That's a lot of money.
Listen, that thing is a cutting edge headset, but I think in terms of hardware, what you're getting hardware wise between that and a PSVR 2, PSVR 2 is clowning on that thing with its price currently.
Yeah, well, you can get a PSVR 2 and a PS5 for the same
for the price of a Meta Quest Pro. Yeah. So it just financially makes no sense. And Meta can talk about how it's actually a business device as opposed to a consumer device all they want. They know they need mass market purchasing on that thing for it to actually make any sort of sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably where the speculation of a Quest 3 comes in. Basically, in a presentation which was shared with The Verge, it contained details of the Quest 3 as well as 2 more headsets under development at Meta's AR and VR segment. Meta reportedly told employees Quest 3 will be 2 times thinner and at least twice as powerful as Quest 2. Now that excites me.
I want to be
With a slightly more expensive price point than the Quest 2's $400, that does not excite me.
I want to be a person in the room that when they come up with these, these huge like comparisons, whatever, it's like it's 2 times thinner, but at least twice as powerful.
What does that mean, actually? Yeah. The Verge noted the headset will prominently feature mixed reality experiences by using front-facing cameras to feed in video of your surroundings. Mixed reality will reportedly be one of the Quest 3's biggest selling points, which is strange because I think for consumer VR purposes, that is the least interesting part of a VR headset to me.
I was
Because
gonna
games
say,
aren't made for AR.
I was gonna say
So-
that immediately turns me off. I'm like, I don't really give two shits about AR. Like, give me experiences that completely immerse me, not in my reality. No, it's like, cool, you put on this $400 headset and look at your table and there'll be little mini characters there. I'm like, no thanks.
There's apparently a more accessible headset being prototyped, codenamed Ventura. It's planned for release in 2024. This perhaps will be cheaper than the Quest 3 as it will be sold at the most attractive price points in the VR consumer market. Meta has plans for its most advanced headset too, codenamed La Jolla. Okay, but the timeline was not shared. So it seems that the Quest 3 is going to be bumping up the price a bit, and then there's going to be a product which is basically going to replace what the Quest was, which was the most accessible way to play VR. Because when the first Quest came out, they were like, here's a headset that you can play games on natively, no PC required, $300. Boom. And they fucking gutted like everything else on the market at the time. So I'm keen for a headset like that. If that headset is like, hey, we've got most of the hardware from the Quest 3, but we're ditching all the AR stuff, I'm like, I'm in.
I was going to say, that's out of all the VR options, obviously I want to try PSVR 2, but the most lucrative option for me has always been something that's like literally the headset and a controller.
Yeah, of course.
And the first Quest was that. So if it's a modern day version of that, I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
But it's also flexible because the Quest is like, you can have that. And then, hey, do you have a PC?
You can
plug it into the PC and play. And the PC is where all the cool VR stuff is. You're not in a contained ecosystem. You can play anything. Like all the VR shit that is on Steam is unbelievable. Whereas the PSVR 2, this is the problem a lot of people have with it, me included, is it is completely confined to PlayStation's ecosystem.
Yeah.
So you can only play the games that they decide to put on their console and only on there. And if they decide to stop supporting that thing, it is dead.
Jim Ryan says you play this, you play that. That's that.
Yeah. So, to an extent, the Quest was that, because if you buy games for the Quest headset itself natively, they're stuck on Meta's platform. But because it can connect to a PC and do, especially now that it does wireless stuff, like there is zero reason to do any of that. Like you can just, if you've got a PC, just boom, like. Also, you can go to a fucking park and play Beat Saber if you want to. Like, how cool is that?
I mean, cool that you can do that. I don't know how I'd feel.
You will not look
watched.
cool. I will tell you that.
You will not look cool. No one walks to the park and goes, wow, Dad, what's that person doing? They look so cool.
You're just like swinging your arms like a madman.
Mom,
People
is
think
that
you're
person
tripping
on
out
drugs?
LSD.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, maybe in South Africa, not the greatest thing to do is occlude your vision in a public space. Like,
definitely not.
you like come out of your Beat Saber session like, where's my phone?
Where are my pants? How did this?
Yeah.
What story do you want to move on to next?
Let's just quickly touch on this IOI stuff because I found it very interesting. So Hitman developer IO Interactive. They have basically put out a tweet about one of their next games because obviously they are still supporting Hitman and they are working on the James Bond game that they announced a while back.
I actually forgot about that.
This is a very similar thing where, where they announced James Bond and they're like, it's not coming soon. We're just saying we're working on this. This is the same here. This game is not coming soon. This is more we want to hire people for this thing. Please come work with us.
Nice.
And so they are building a new world, a new IP, an online fantasy RPG. And based on some of the things I've heard people say, like good old Jeff Grubb, he says they are taking a lot of design cues from Diablo looking at this. So, yeah, according to their post, it says it's a world and a game built from the core to entertain players and expand for many years to come. so live service. It feels familiar, yet at the same time, IO Interactive is going on a journey unlike any we've seen before.
Project Fantasy, opportunity missed. I could have called it Project Final Fantasy. Come on, guys.
Imagine.
What's going on here?
They just buddied up with Square Enix again to work on something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm keen to see what they do, but when the description's that, it's like, wow, never been seen before fantasy world. I'm like, cool.
That's nice.
Show me what it looks like, because I don't know. I've seen just this year. I've seen a glove that backstabbed the antagonist in Atomic Heart. It's not even a fantasy set. Blow me away. It's cool.
Eurogamer does note that they reported on this game back in 2021, and back then it was described as a AAA-sized project featuring a large medieval-esque world and dragons. It was also reported at the time that this game was being worked on with Microsoft. There's no mention of that in IOI's things, so maybe that didn't pan out. But that would be a big thing if June Microsoft is like, yo, remember that game IOI was talking about? Yeah, that's ours.
Yeah, shit.
We're publishing that. Like, especially considering the goodwill that IOI has right now. Like, they clearly can do no wrong. So, yeah, interesting. It's cool that they're trying something different. Like, they are, for all intents and purposes, independent. They don't have a publisher. And they've just got all the success with Hitman and obviously a lot of money for James Bond. And they're just like, let's make a game we've never made before.
Let's take the money we got from James Bond.
Doing that, that's cool.
I mean, look at what Hi-Fi Rush was. Hashtag just saying.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Speaking of fantasy, Yoshida confirms Final Fantasy 16 won't be on PC 6 months after PS5 release. I love this quote. Of course, a bit of a stir with Mario Marks.
But I'd like to touch on the PC version.
My goodness.
Basically, the gist of this is that PlayStation 5 has an exclusivity on Final Fantasy 16 for 6 months. So, as most assumed, they were like, cool, 6 months and it's on PC. That would be a logical assumption, correct? That's not the case.
So what does that mean? Does it mean it's coming to Xbox after 6 months, but not PC?
No, definitely not. It just means that they need a lot more time for the PC version. So just because the period is 6 months doesn't mean the PC version launches at that 6 months date. It just comes later.
Your PlayStation got their money's worth. Like, we'll pay you for 6 months. And Square Enix is like, cool, we'll hold it off for a year. And Sony's like, what? That doesn't even make sense.
So Yoshida says, he concludes in this statement, he says, first of all, I'd be happy if you could play the PS5 version, which I made with the thought of being the best game in the world. Well, okay then. If the PC version comes out in half a year, I can quit the company. Please don't say I won't buy the PS5 version because the PC version will be released in half a year. He's basically saying don't hold your breath. Fair enough that they're getting out ahead of this, because if the 6 months came and people are like, yo, where's this game? And they're like, yo, it's not coming yet. That'd be madder, I guess. I guess this just sets expectations.
Is this game only coming to PS5? It's not PS4 and last gen, hey?
No, only PS5. That's why it looks the way it does.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this year's current gen only games, because we are, I think, at long last leaving. Look, if you ever got a last gen console, I'm very sorry that we're leaving you behind, but I'm very excited for you to be left behind, only so I can see what games look like when they're developed exclusively.
I hope that's the case, but I don't see any real evidence of that being the adoption rate across the board. Like, maybe Square Enix has that approach because they did the same with Forspoken.
I mean, Forspoken was, changed the whole game. Best looking game I've ever seen. Those haptic triggers, wow.
Okay. Sure thing.
Listen, I'm being hopeful.
But apparently, according to reports, Call of Duty this year is still going to be on old consoles. And that, to me, is the marker. When big tentpole franchises move over, that's when the industry moves over.
Yeah. But I mean, Call of Duty is also a thing of like, everyone buys it. You'd be silly to not give it over to Xbox One and PS4 because there's still tens of millions of people.
But now we're supporting a console that's 10 years old.
I mean, it's coming to Switch. Microsoft said...
Maybe not this year's one.
Call of Duty comes to Switch. I'm like, who the hell is playing Call of Duty on Switch?
Let me tell you, if you're here sitting with the Switch and that's your only console, and you're like, hell yeah, I get to play Call of Duty finally. I will
100%.
bet you my keyboard that thing is not native on the Switch. That thing is a streamed game. There is no fucking way Call of Duty is running on the Switch. On the new Switch, maybe.
Maybe.
On this Switch, not a
No.
chance. No ways.
Last piece of news. Dune meets Destiny action game Atlas Fallen gets May release. What game is this? Have I heard of it before? Did I just forget
I think it
about
was revealed at some Game Award thing. I don't know. I just put it in here because it's coming out soon. It looks kind of neat.
I like the screenshots. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Yo, is this the fantasy world IO promised us and never seen before? Man.
So it's out in May 16th. It's one of those Focus games. You know, Focus, they publish like a Plague Tale, and every now and then it hits a winner. So this has like strong hints of like Destiny and Monster Hunter. So that maybe that's why it's kind of cool. It's on like a sand planet like Dune. So yeah, I don't know.
Yo,
could be cool. Who knows?
Dune...
Dead 13 is the developers of The Surge. So they're not... They've made some good games, you know.
I like that they say sand planets and your only connection is Dune. Like Star Wars hasn't spent thousands of hours telling us that Tatooine exists.
When 90% of Star Wars is set,
on the
even
sand
though everyone
planet.
says Tatooine is this nothing planet where no one goes.
Yeah.
Yet all of Star Wars exists on that planet.
Can neither confirm nor deny, but Atlas Fallen might be set on
might
Tatooine.
Be Tatooine too, actually. Yeah.
Either in the far future or the distant past. I don't know. Cool, but it does look cool. I think it's an interesting looking game. But you're right. Focus Home is this thing of like, they're one of those publishers that publish a lot of games, and some of them are like, wow, and some are just not wow.
Yeah, some are not great. So, some of the devs under their stable, I'm just like, anything developed by spiders, I'm like, no. The Polygon does make a good point that this release date kind of puts it in the crosshairs of probably the biggest game of the year in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So fucking good luck.
Good luck.
Great
speed.
Great day to choose considering you knew what to avoid. But yeah. Then again, that is on one console. So maybe a very different thing. But yeah.